Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey. This is the Textures blanket and this is using Bernat Alize Blanket Easy yarn. So we're going to be using 8 balls in order to create this large size afghan. It's 56 inches by 60 inches. Of course, I'm going to give you the information you need if you would like to change the size, if you would like to make this smaller or bigger. Just keep in mind if you change anything like that, you'll have to figure out the yarn quantities. So what we have here is that we have a combination of a garter stitch with the twist that you see on the edges and cable stitch. This is all done in sweeping passes, so this is not added on afterward. This is all done in the motion. So what you're looking at is that these railway tracks that you see, those are made up of 2 rows. It's in the garter stitch with the twist and you get that kind of look on the outside. So when I did this for a sample last night, I forgot to make sure that I was doing the garter stitch. So I accidentally did the stocking knit stitch, and when you see that here, you can see that if you access from the back all the time, this cable work that you see buries in and you don't see it as effectively. So you really do want to concentrate in order to get this look with the garter stitch with the twist. So let's talk strategy. So what we have is the garter stitch with the twist is on the outside of this. It's also down here when we start. This is all done in one complete pass, so this is not this added on afterward like you would expect it to be. So what you have here is that we're going to start off, and each one of the garter stitch with the twist is made up of 2 rows in order to give the one look that you see. So it's gonna come across and then back and then across and then back in order to get the look. Then what's going to happen is that we're going to then work our way across, and we're going to start doing the first 6 stitches as the twisted garter stitch, and then the remaining is going to be this cable stitch that you see, and then the final 6 are going to be the twisted garter stitch once again. And when we come back and do the other direction, the first 6 are twisted garter, the cables, and then the last 6 are twisted garters. So it's really quite an easy pattern to be able to maintain. So if you're going to change the size of this, keep in mind that you want your 6 on the one side, you want your 6 on the other, and then as long as these cables are made up of 2s, you're good to go. So make sure it's an even number that you have in the middle. So we're going to be able to start today, and we're going to do 70 of these loops in order to make it so it's an even number for you to be able to do this strategy with. So it's going to be really quite an easy pattern to work with. So what I'm going to do for you on the sample is that I'm going to say 6 for the beginning. I'm going to say 6, which will give me 3 cables, and then I'm gonna get 6 then to do the other side. So I'm gonna end up with a really nice look. So the first stitches that you see is 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, and 4, and then we start the cabling, and then we do the stitching garters on the sides all the way to the other side. So it's a really neat idea, and let's get going and show you how to do this. So the pattern is written, so the first time you do the garter, you're going right. Okay, so I want your loose end to be here on the right. So what I need you to do is count out your 70 if you're doing the pattern exactly as I'm only gonna do 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So 18 right here is going to be my sample that I'm going to be making with you on camera. So what we're going to do is that the first 4 rows are going to be twisted garter stitch. So let's get you started, and let's begin to do that next. The first thing that we should do is organize all of these loops so that they're facing in the up motion. They should stay up on their own anyway, because all of these, when this yarn is manufactured, this is the same yarn strand that works its way across. So what happens is that it comes up and back down, and then it's tacked together for a loop, and then up and down. So you can actually open up these stitches if you need to, and you can find tutorials on joining new yarn balls as well. So let's start on our very first loop and work our way going right. So what we're going to do is that we're gonna get started, and we're going to give this a 180 twist. So just pick it up and just twist it 180 clockwise, and then grab the next available yarn loop on the working yarn. And when I say working yarn, it's from the yarn ball. Just pull it through so it's got a 180 twist that has just been applied to that one strand. You're not gonna see the results immediately when you see this. So you jump to the next strand, okay, and see how it's lying flat. Give it a 180 twist clockwise, and then put in the next loop available from the working strand. And you're gonna work your entire row like this. So pick it up, twist it, and then put the next loop through it. So that's permanently giving a twist. So pick it up, twist, and do that. So please do that all the way across for your cast on row, and you're gonna see that the yarn strands are actually doing a little bit of a twist. So I'm coming up to the last 2 loops, making sure that I'm twisting every loop, including the very last one. So don't be shy that you need to not cross that last one. So it's up, just twist it and then put it in. So the secret to doing kind of easy knitting is that after you get a row done, see how it's kind of looking a little just erratic? What you want to do is just pull up in a loop. Because of the way that these are sewn, when you pull up a loop, it doesn't pull another stitch out. So this is pulling the slack that is existing, and it allows you to lay all the stitches flat. And I know what you're thinking, you're gonna have to twist anyway, why would you bother? Well, the twist is intentional, so you want to make sure that these are lying flat, so when you do apply the twist, that it is intentionally looking that way so that you can control it better in the end. And there are ways to correct it if you're seeing an anomaly as well in the twist later on in the future. So look at it, and it should look all consistent on the bottom. So no special camera tricks, that's just the reality. And let's begin row number 2. So row number 2, it's the garter stitch. So what we want to do is put the working yarn in front of the project this time, and now we're gonna scoop it into the project as a garter stitch. So we're just gonna take the next available loop. Okay, so take the first loop here. So this is it looking flat. So give it again a 180 twist clockwise, and then insert the loop from the front going to the back. This is creating that solid line that you see in the project. So just grab the next loop, give it a 180 twist, and the next loop from the working strand, just pull it, push it in and push it to the back. Okay, so next one, twist 180 and insert the next loop in. You do get used to this motion because, you know, a lot of us that crochet and knit, we think about, you know, our hands are been doing the same thing for years for some of us, and some of you new people that are actually just starting for the first time in this concept, you'll probably get it quicker than we will. So just twist and insert and go toward the back. I want you to do the whole row like that. So up and twist, and make sure that when you're going to twist that it looks like it's sitting flat to begin with. So if it's looking like this, you know it's not. So if it's sitting like that, you know it's correct. Then give it the 180 twist. And there are ways to correct it later if you have to as well. So continue to go all the way across in this motion. This is row number 2. So I've just gotten all the way across. So what I want to do is that I want to pull up on the loops. So pull the slack, and you'll see that the work that you're doing on the project is going to start materializing right before your very eyes. So just go all the way down and making sure that these loops are not twisted at any way, because what are you gonna do? You're gonna provide a twist again next time in row number 3. So the first 4 rows are this twisted garter. So if you don't twist at all, you just end up with the regular garter stitch. But the twist provides a really unique look that you see within the blanket. So let's just now continue then to row number 3, and let's continue. So row number 3, we're going to then go back in the other direction, get your yarn up in front of you, and then you can scoop it in. So pick up the first one and make sure that it doesn't have a twist to it to begin with, and then again twist 180 and insert the first loop in from the back, coming back forward. So in, so give it a twist and pull through from the back. So I want you to do this for row number 3, going all the way across, coming from the back, giving a twist and pulling it to the front. Please do that all the way across. So I'm coming all the way to the end. You still twist in that last one. This is row number 3. Go back and pull up on your loops. So the more you can do this project, the easier it sits down, and it also gets quicker because it's not as fiddly in your hands. So when you pull up, all the stitches will line up. So what happens if you look down and you say, you know, man, I forgot to do something down here? That's not a big deal. So what you can just do, instead of taking apart your work, you can undo the stitches that you have done in that particular motion, and you can just take apart anything that you need in order to get it to work. So for example, say I didn't have a twist there, I can just put the twist back in, and then I can pull the loop through in order to make it look like it's working. So it's just a matter of being able to self-correct. So we're gonna go one more across for your garter, and then we're gonna start the cabling work as we hit row number 5. But this is still row number 4. So we're gonna start on the outside. Now that we pulled up, we're going to start from the front. So put the yarn in front of the project and give it a 180 twist like you had before, and start feeding it again from the front to the back. Okay, so let's do that, and I will see you at the end of this row. You've already seen how it's done, so just give it that 180 twist that it needs and just feed in those loops, and I'll see you at the end of this row. So I'm finishing up row number 4. I'm again twisting that very last one. So now we're gonna start doing the cabling element to this project. One thing that I would like to caution you on, make sure you turn this project over once in a while to make sure there's no loops where there shouldn't be, so that if there is, that means that you've skipped over a loop. Go back and do your housekeeping and just pulling up your loops to pull the slack, and then we're going to begin doing not only the garter stitching, but now we're gonna be adding in the cabling work as you go. So you notice we've not turned the project upside down at all. We're just always looking at the good side to help us keep in sync with everything that we're looking at. So now we're going to start the first row of adding the cables in. So let's do that next. So the last row we just did was the garter stitch from the front side. So we're now going to go in this direction, and we're gonna access the stitches from the back side. So we're not only gonna do cables, every time we do cables it'll always be from the back. Only when we do the garter stitch, every other row will be through the front, but only in the garter stitch area. So in this particular one, the first 6 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 will each be a garter. So pick it up and do your twist for the first 6. So 1, and once you get used to this, you will be able to see the first 6 easily without having to really obsessively count. So this is allowing the garter stitch border that you see within the project. I'm just making sure that I'm twisting in the correct motion, and again you can correct it later if you have to. I wouldn't recommend it too much because that'll drive you crazy, but it does happen even to the best of us if you look up and you're watching TV and you get sucked into the drama. So the first 6 are each the garter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now the cable work is going to be in sets of 2. So I only planned for 3 cables. So you're gonna take the first stitch here. You're no longer twisting, so don't do the twist. You're just gonna put the one loop over top of the other loop. So you're gonna crisscross it. So the first loop goes over the second, and so the second loop that you just crossed over becomes the first loop that you're going to go through, and you're just gonna pull through behind. Notice there's no twist. They're just crisscrossed, and then the second loop gets fed with the fresh loop from the back. So that just crossed it over. Let's do the next 2 the same way. So the next 2, just cross them over and grab a fresh loop from the working strand. I'm just making sure I'm keeping an eye on my loops. And then the second loop with another fresh loop from the strand through. So now you just crisscross those. Just pull the slack if you're not seeing anything happening. And then the final 2 that I'm gonna do, you'll have more because of the fact that you're doing a whole size afghan. So cross it over first, and then get a fresh loop and do the first. See how I'm pinching this crossing over so I keep a track on them? It's just easier. Okay, so now they've just crossed over. So that will leave us the final 6 stitches that are left on the outside here. So the final 6 stitches that you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, they're gonna be the twisted garter. So twist it first, 180 like you had before, and pull up. So twist and pull up from the back. So when you're going from left to right, you're always working in the back side, and that includes the cable work as well. So the cable is always going to be from the back, but the garter stitch that you're seeing will always be from the back. So the final 6 in a row are the twisted garter stitch coming from the back. Now we're going to work our way going across and garter stitching the twist in the very first 6, cabling the next 6, and cabling the last 6. So let's start. To do the garter stitch going in this direction from right to left, we need to put the yarn in front of the project, and we're going to just make sure that you pull up all your loops so that you can calculate your twist and pull from the front to the back. So you already know how to do this. Okay, so twist, and so it'll only be the first 6. Once you get started on this project, you'll see the first 6 without hesitation, without really even having to count it, because you'll see it. So this will be the last one and coming from the front. So now what you want to do, the first 6 here are from the front side, so you want to shift the yarn now backward to the back side, and now you want to just handle these cables. So the cables, all of the cables will then be accessed from the back side coming up. There is no twist to them. They're just pushed through from the front or back to the front. And you keep doing that. So the cable work is almost a bit of a hobby or a holiday for you as you work your way across. So once you get your cable work done, you're back on the final 6. So if you want to pull up and get your homework all nice and organized, you can do that. And then the final 6, because you were accessing it from the front side on the other side, pull the yarn back to the front side, and the final 6 with your twist is going to be the next 6 stitches. So from the front to the back. So the cabling that you have is that it's always the same information. So when you go across, you're crisscrossing, and when you come back, you're always just coming from the back with a straight up, so that there's only crossing over once every other row. So it makes it quite easy to be able to follow. So I can see here I just skipped a loop. So that will happen to you, guaranteed at some point. Just keep an eye on your loops. The trick is to be able to recognize it right away instead of waiting too long and realizing you did it too late. Most times when I do realize it, I'm about 5 or 6 stitches away. So I'm not usually that talented to see it right away is all I'm saying. So you come across now, your final 6 are from the front side, and now you're just gonna go back through your project and pull up. Oh, see, I skipped another loop right here. So I'm gonna leave that in the tutorial here because that will happen to you. That's pretty much a guarantee. For myself, I have the outer pressure that I have a camera on, and you want to learn some fun stuff. So you're just gonna go back through your project, pull up on your homework that you just did, and the cables are always in sets of 2. So you'll see that 2, 2, and 2, and then the final 6 that you have here is that it'll be your garter stitch. So let's continue across. So we're going to again from the back side now, because we just came from the front side of this. So from the back side, just do your twist, and the first 6 will be the twisted garter, but coming from the back. Do you see how the twisted garter stitch kind of holds apart from the cable work? So it just becomes really quite easy to be able to, for you to maintain. So now for the cabling that we're going to do, so let's hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 6th one here. So keep an eye on that. Make sure you don't miss that. It looked a bit wrong, so then it clued me into something's wrong. So here is your cables. So it's like it was before. So you want to push this first one over top of the other one. Okay, so don't allow them to twist. Okay, so they should look nice and flat. And pull up the first loop that's available to you, and pull up the next loop. Okay, so we want to twist over the next two. So when I say twist over, you just cross over. And then finally the last two, cross over. And because I've only done 3 of them, like it's easier for me to count 1, 2, 3, you'll have to just look at it a little more carefully in order to get your counts. So because we're going in this direction from left to right, the final 6 stitches that you're going to run into here is that you are going to be the twisted garter stitch, and again you're just gonna pull up the first one and give it a twist. So let's just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So twist it first and then coming from the back. And you go all the way to the end, just like that. So from a distance, you will really be able to see the cabling work really pop out when you're up close like this. And so because this needs to all be stretched out as well, all the slack needs to be taken away, and then you'll see the cabling work starting to work before your very own eyes. So I'm going to go once again across this way, and then I'm gonna show you how to do the final 4 rows. The final 4 rows is exactly the way you see it here. So to start then, that one is that we want to bring the yarn in forward, and the first 3 are the twisted garter stitch, then from the front side going back. So the more you get used to this pattern, the faster it gets. So the first 6 will then be from the front. And just kind of look at it, make sure you got your 6. Then you're going to shift the yarn in behind, and then you're gonna access the cable work each from the behind without a twist. And so you just work sequentially across, and this will help define the cables even more. So the more cable work you do, the more it appears and the more refined it looks too. So you bring the yarn forward, and then you'll access the stitches, then coming from the back to the front. Make sure you do your twist. And it's the last 6 stitches, of course. And then what you're going to do is just go back and check your homework and make sure you get everything in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you got your cables, and then you got your first 6 that you started with, just like there. So let's go back across. So what you're going to do is that you're going to continue back and forth creating these cables as you go. So the whole project measures a total of 56 inches, and then the final rows that we have, the 4 of the twisted garter, we're going to apply, and those are just what you see here. So I'm just going to go back once across, because when you start the twisted garter that you see, you start from this side, the left side, and go right. So right and then left, and then right and then left. So let's do the final one here going across. So all you're just gonna do is start, because you're going from right to left, you want to start in the front and get the first loops available to you. Just make sure that you provide the twist. The first 6 then come from the front. Just like you see. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so there's one more down here. Yep. So turn that over. Now the cables, remember, it's always going to be from the back side. So move that working yarn to the back, and the next available loop to you, just insert from the back going forward. Making sure that no loops are twisting. What makes it work, so do you see how this one kind of looks like it's twisted compared to this one? So all you just need to do, if you see that, you can just reverse out and just turn it in a way that it makes sense. So instead of having to frog the entire project, you can just correct anything that you need to correct. Now the wonderful thing about this yarn is that because it's so thick, the stitches just want to stay in place. So even though I'm moving it around on the table here, you can see that I can move it around without any worry of stitches falling out. So it's not like I'm being gentle about it. You don't want to be crazy either, but you don't have to be extra sensitive. So the final 6, you're going to move the yarn in front and give it that twist in front to back. So what we're going to do after we get this done, we're going to do 4 rows of the twisted garter stitch. You already know how to do that. I'll quickly talk about it and then we'll do it, and then I'll show you how to bind off, which means finish off as well. And then just go through your project and just pull up all these loops. So now what we want to do is we want to work our way across just like you did down here. So the entire thing as we go is that it's going to be the first time, because we're going from left to right, you're going to be in the back side. So give each one of the twists, including the ones in the cable, your twist. So you're going to get to the height that you need, which is 56 inches, and then you're going to start doing your twisted garters the entire journey across. Like that. So your cables are next. Also give those a twist, because we're now going back into the realm of the final. And you're going to do that all the way across. So please do that twisted garter stitch all the way across. So just come all the way across, just pulling up my loops, getting them all ready. This is the twisted garter, then all the way back. So just starting and put the yarn forward, and it will stay forward the entire time, going across, starting in that first loop, twist, and do front to back. Do the entire row like that, and I'll see you on the next row. So now I've just pulled up my loops. I'm now going to return back across, again doing the twisted garter, but now from the back side, because I'm going from left to right, and just do that again one more time. And finally, 4th time is a charm, going back across, and again the work will be in front, the working yarn, and just simply give everything another twist and go to the other side. So when we get to the other side, we're going to start our bind off, which is our finishing, once you're ready for that. And make sure I actually left a loop behind here. Just kind of peel back the loops and making sure that you get every one that you want to do. Sometimes filming these tutorials I feel a little bit rushed, so you start making decisions and then you're not thinking straight, so it does happen. So just keep on twisting all the way to the back, or to the back to where you started, and then we're going to start the bind off next. So the next thing you want to do is that you want to cut off after the 3rd loop, so 1, 2, and 3. So cut the yarn that is working to the yarn strand. Now you would have had to change balls a few times. There was 8 balls altogether for this afghan, so we have tutorials available on how to do that if you're interested. So what we have is that there is a loop. You want to cut right in the base of the loop, and that's holding those loops together, and this will be the strand that you're going to use to finalize everything at the end. So now that it's completely open, we're going to move to the other side of the project and we're going to work our way that way. So what you're going to just do is go to the second loop right here and just feed it through the first one, and then that loop you're going to feed this next loop through that one, and you're just basically binding off. It's almost like braiding in some ways. So you work the whole afghan going across like this. So because these loops are a set amount of sizes, when you go to pick up this afghan, you're going to notice that it continually gets bigger, in the sense that it gets more relaxed, the stitches start to find their place, and so you may have tension like I do on this particular sample. That's because I really haven't pulled on it yet in order to make that happen, and it's not something that you need to worry about pulling on it. Like, you don't want to reef on it, but the natural weight of it will have the stitches stretch out to their maximum capacity. Because the threads that are used for making this product is that those threads don't actually stretch at all. And you're working your way all the way back to the beginning. Right to the last loop, and once you get to the last loop, that's where this strand comes into play. You're just going to feed that strand through that loop to lock it. Now what you're gonna do is take that strand and a darning needle. Now this is the good side of the project you've been looking at, so just turn it over and just weave in this strand into the stitch work. Don't try to get to the outside of this like the good side, so just weave it in. It's already locked into position anyway, and then go back in the other direction for a second time is a charm, and third time is perfect. Okay, so I just followed the exact same path, so it will fall out. So you want to make sure that you're going to go in a slightly different path that when you go across in the other direction. It's good to leave this kind of stuff in videos. This yarn is really intended for newbies to yarn, to get them excited about knitting and crochet. And if you have a loop that I see here, if you just kind of work it in, it'll pull it down. If you can't if you can't beat it, right, just join it. And then once you get in enough times, you can safely just cut that down. So what I want to do is take the product and stretch it. So you're gonna see how it stretches. This is the back side of the project. And you're going to see it's gonna start relaxing on you. It more stretches in this direction than it does in the width. And that's how you do this one here. So this is the Nice Textures blanket. This is by Bernat Alize, Blanket Easy, and I hope that you've enjoyed, and we'll see you again next time.